Okay, so in this video what I'm going to be doing is just showing how to make a light version of Windows 10 Enterprise ISO with MSMG. And so to get the MSMG toolkit, what you have to do is if you go in your browser, and then the URL is just MSMG toolkit MSMG toolkit.in downloads.html. And so if we just download the latest one, which at this time is 12.4, and as you can see, it's download.ru. So you know it could have some Russian code in it that yeah. So if you select the file and then download it. I mean, I'm surprised that any RU websites are still working, considering the time that we're in. Right, so now if we go to where that is, and then you just decompress it. So I've already got 7-zip installed, and just go to just extract here. Well, it looks like that was a mistake. So this is what happens sometimes with Windows programs, is that you they end up making a mess of your of your wherever you unpack them if you don't do it the right way, because of course they expect you to be running Windows. So what we have to do now is move it into a place that's sensible. So what I can do is I can just move it to the desktop. And so I'm just going to choose the proper files. Right, okay, so those are the files that were uncompressed. So now if we go in there, we'll see these are the standard MSMG toolkit files. And so what you have to do is this you got here the DVD, and so you see it says sources. So what you now have to do is to get an ISO of Windows 10, and so the one I'm using is this one, which is just a Windows 10 Enterprise evaluation. So if you just I think you just double click it actually, yeah, and it just mounts it automatically. So you can see it's got sources here. So what you have to do is you just have to copy all of this and just put it into here. What Windows always does is the beginning part's really quick, and it always has to get stuck right at the end. Oh wow! Right, so those are the files inside, copied across from the DVD like they need to be. And so now we just have to just run this program, which is start. And so then, obviously, they haven't paid for a license because not everyone's that rich. Or certificate, I should say. And so we have to do accept. Yeah, see, so it's recognized it as Windows 10. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's the host OS. Yeah, I was wondering why the version was messed up, but that's the host that I'm running on. Okay, so first we've got to choose the source. And so we've already got it inside the DVD folder. So if we press 1, it checks it. So the only one we've got available is just 1, which is the 10 enterprise evaluation. It's not worth doing let's do recovering, yeah. I'm not sure what that actually means, but I know what they are. One is just for when you're doing the installation, when you boot up from it, and the other one's if you want to run the recovery. If there's a problem with the Windows 10 operating system and you want to do something like to roll back the registry version. Okay, so this shouldn't take too long since I've got it on a RAID 0, so it can't complain that the storage is slow. Right, because I noticed that most people, this part, I might speed it up. Later on. But what I'll do is I'll just leave all of it in. So if I do speed it up, you won't even hear me speaking this anyway. Okay, so that's done. So we don't want to integrate anything. So what we want to do is to remove stuff. So we do press 3. And then we want to press 1 for remove Windows components. And so 1 again to select Windows components. So first we go to Internet. And so everyone always gets rid of, definitely Adobe Flash. And they always get rid of Edge as well, because you know how people just don't like Edge. But you need Internet Explorer so that it doesn't mess up the system, because you know how Microsoft isn't too good at programming, and they can't seem to keep things separate properly. So if you go to 2, which is multimedia, yes, we don't care about first logon. Who cares about games? The lock screen background is annoying. Snipping tools alright, so no one cares about sound themes. And then we've got G, which is the spy stuff. So if you don't want to be spied on, you get rid of speech recognition. And Windows Media Player is useless. Photo View is nice. And we can keep the themes, I suppose. And we don't need the system assessment, because that's all just so you can upgrade to another version of spyware OS. So we do X to go back. So then we go to network is 3. You'll probably want to keep these because OpenSSH is good, and remote desktop client. Yeah, RDC, simple telnet. Yeah, you want to keep Windows Mail because it actually can come in handy for testing. So I'll just leave those in. And it's in privacy, that's all the spy stuff. Yeah, so we don't really. If you just just L to get rid of them all. Oh, I think it's 1 actually, sorry, 1. And so now, yeah, you don't need any of them. So if you do X to go back, so 5. You don't want to, home group's useless. Multipoint, don't know what that is. OneDrive is just a waste of time. You want to keep remote assistance and remote desktop because in case, well, not in case, but because you want to, someone might want to look at your desktop and, or remote, no, might as well leave because they're not really spyware related. And so then system ones, number 6. Okay, there's a few here. So, yeah, we don't need that. Alright, I'm just going to remove the ones that you can tell aren't really used. So the accessibility, well, I might as well keep them because people who are disabled will complain if you remove them. So don't need device lockdown. Yeah, might as well. So easy transfer, you want file history as backup. Yeah, all the accessibility, so you don't need manual setup. Notepad on screen, paint, projected. I think project effects, that must be just some testing stuff. Steps recorders, yeah, you don't need storage spaces because no one seems to use that. You want to keep system restore, firewall, subsystem. Yeah, so better keep all the rest of them. Because admittedly, I'm not doing this to make it small. It's just to get rid of the spyware and the annoying stuff. That's all I'm really trying to do. So if the ISO is still big, I don't really care. Okay, so this is a bit long, so let's increase the size. It shows you how much spy stuff. Or how much stuff Microsoft likes to put in, which is kind of useless. So, Microsoft account. Yeah, so you have to check the things. So you wouldn't really want to get rid of too many of these. Just look for the annoying ones. You definitely don't want to do all system apps because you'll end up in trouble. You don't want to remove any of the OOBE stuff because that can actually cause it to crash out on the installation. So you have to watch out there. You need to get the 26 can go. Yeah, you have to keep the Windows Store so that you can actually, because there's certain apps you actually have to download through it. But of course, we get rid of any Xbox stuff because we know Xbox is nonsense. Right, so that's all the ones that it's probably worth removing, since removing too many of these can break the system. Because remember, Microsoft doesn't know how to program properly, so they're not going to make the dependencies. They're not going to do the dependencies properly, and the system will just die and, not know how to proceed if you remove the wrong applications. Alright, so that was systems. Let's go to 8. That's the last one. We definitely don't want mixed reality, because that's nonsense. Definitely get rid of advertising for sure. And yeah, Cortana's gone, which is good. So we don't need feedback hub, because that's just spyware. Yeah, you want to keep VP9 because that's used for WebRTC. So I don't know what Groove nonsense is. Maps. don't want Microsoft to have your money, because you might as well stick with your bank. So mixed reality is just some nonsense, so we don't know what that is. Yeah, we don't care about movies and TV, because we know that movies and TV are rubbish. And then My Office is obviously nonsense. OneNote makes no sense. Paint 3D is just confusing. I don't know what PhoneLink is. Keep photos. Screen Sketch can be handy for annotations. Better keep the Windows Store. And Skype is a waste of time. Just download the normal one anyway. Yeah, Sticky Notes is alright. Keep the store one. So Windows tips, well, everyone knows how to use Windows, so what's the point? Voice recorder can come in handy, so we got rid of weather, which is good. Windows Mail. Oh, I got rid of... Yeah, well, if Windows Mail's got advertising, then it has to go, unfortunately. All the Xbox stuff is gone. So we don't have to be annoyed by that nonsense. So now if we just do X to go back. Right, so that should be that for the removing the components. So now let's start the process. So now this is just going to go through and removing the items. This will probably take a while, so I'll just speed this up. Okay, so it's finished removing the components. So now we'll just press any key. And so now we're ready to go back. Right, so we finish here because we're not using an apps list or a package list. So if you do X to go back. And then, so now we want to customize it. So the only one we want to try is, yeah, so we don't have a features list. So the only thing we want to do is to apply tweaks. So we do number 8. And yes, we want to get rid of automatic driver updates. Yeah, because that can be annoying. Yeah, we definitely don't want third-party apps to just be coming in like a virus, so... Yeah, so no... Yeah, so just do it manually. That's fine. And... thing is, I can't remember if you can search. See, if you disable Cortana, I don't know if that means you can't search. Well, let's just find out anyway. If it disappears, then we know we slipped up on that one. Yes, reserved storage space. Not even sure what that means. Yeah, you better keep Windows Defender and the firewall. But Smart Screen is just annoying because it's just there to stop you installing any useful stuff. Better keep Windows Update. And yes, we'll enable DISM. So that's yes, well, yeah, so if you enable MP3, because there's lots of MP3s around, because obviously Microsoft doesn't want to pay the cash, because they're stingy. High taskbar. Yeah, I suppose if you get rid of, well, we've already disabled Cortana anyway. So get rid of meat now, because that's annoying, because we don't even know what that is. And yeah, using interest, that's just to get on your nerves as well. And task, yeah, you want to keep the search bar, and you definitely want task view. So if you just do X to go back, and then X to go back again. So we've done the customize. The next job is to apply. Now here's the interesting thing, is that what I found is that, see, there's an option to clean up source images. You can choose that, and yes, it will make the DVD smaller, but here's the problem. I found that it destroys the setup files as well, for if you want to use it as an upgrade. I don't know if I should, maybe I should do it and show you what I mean. Alright, let's do it anyway and see what happens, because I think I had this happen before. So I'm going to do clean up source images. And I'm going to see if it deletes the setup files, then that's actually a bit, I'll explain what I mean anyway, if it does. Alright, so press any key. So we do 2 is to apply and save changes to source images. See, it says, do you want to clean up image folder? So if you do yes, okay, so it looks like it still managed to save a gig and a bit over the original size. So if you press, so if you continue, so now it's finished doing all the processing, and so we've applied it. So now we have to do 6 to choose how we want these files to be put out. So what we want is just the number 1, which is to make a DVD ISO image. So just enter the name for it. So that's the volume label. Now the file name, usually I'll do it with no spaces, so yeah, and you don't need to put the ISO here because it'll add it for you. Yes, as you can see, it's added the ISO at the end. Right, so that's it. So that should be the end of that. I don't think there's anything much in tools. Yeah, so there's nothing much there. So now that should be that. And if we go to with MSMG is, and we check the ISO, right, so there's a Windows 10 Enterprise ISO. So now I want to just show you, let's see if it's what's happened is what I was talking about. So if we just actually let's unmount this one so you don't get confused. If we mount that, yeah, so it's what I thought. So what actually happens, and this is what you got to watch out for, is that This disk is alright if you want to actually boot up from it, because all the boot stuff is still there. But if you actually want to use it to upgrade the system from an older version to this version, then actually you can't, because when I did that cleanup, it deleted the setup files. I'll show you what I mean. So if you go to the original, so this is the original, and you see it's got the boot EFI sources support. So the auto run is gone and setup has gone. And so because these two files are gone, what it means is you can't now just run it. And where this comes in handy is for if you're running, say, Windows 8 and you want to use this disk to go up to Windows 10, which obviously doesn't make sense because the enterprise evaluation you're not going to be able to upgrade to it from a normal Windows 8. But if you're going to make the disk where you want to do upgrades by just running the installer, then because I set to remove those source files, it's removed the setup files. So now this disk is only any use for booting from. It's not any use actually for being able to run setup on an already installed system. And the thing is, when you're doing an upgrade, that's the only way you can do upgrades. You can't boot from the disk and do an upgrade. You have to actually run the setup from within. So I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if there's a way to reverse this. So see, yeah, I think because I've done the cleanup, I think it's already deleted the file. So what I'm going to do anyways, I'm going to run this. I'm going to do this again and run it on Windows 11, and hopefully I can remember which option it was that you mustn't use in order so that the setup files not sure why that's stuck on top for. That's a bit weird. Yeah, so and then show you which option it is that you mustn't choose in order so that the setup files the setup program will still be there. Now, I know what you might think. You might think, oh, why not just copy the setup from the other ISO into here? Yeah, I tried that, but you just get an error because there's other files missing inside as well, which are needed by it. And if you clean up the source, then it deletes them. So that's just something you have to watch out for. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video I get to do about using the MSMG.